Okay, little extra one for you. Part 7, just a couple of years to do. The war has started. It's on by September 1939, and the international relations side temporarily stops there until you pick it up for the post-war era. But the home front in Germany is still a question that could come up. I've seen a 10 marker on it before. They're quite tricky. It's quite easy to miss because you probably spent only about a double lesson on it when you were doing the course. So you do need to be aware of particularly things like increasing opposition and what the war did to the level of opposition that the Nazis faced. Particularly think about swing youth, think about the Edelweiss pirates. We'll mention the July bomb plot on this timeline as well. And you do need to be able to come up with a judgment on the impact on people's lives and the impact of the war. What it did to people in Germany. It's not about the conduct of the war and the battles, but they can help you know it from the third form stuff. It's about what it did to people within Germany. It's a domestic thing. So really quickly, I'll just take a couple of things from each year. In 1939, they do introduce rationing, but as a result of that rationing, 2 out of 5 Germans actually eat better. And they're starting to get luxuries from many of the countries that they conquered because they're doing so well and rampaging across Europe in 39 and 40. Really, the war doesn't have a huge impact on people's lives in the way that it will do in 39 and 40 because the Germans are winning, they're doing very, very well. Although there is the first raid from the RAF in August 1940. Just a little taster of things to come, but very much the punishment has been inflicted on the British cities in the Blitz at this time and not on the Germans. 41, they're still doing well, they're still in the ascendancy. June is Operation Barbarossa. The propaganda machine is in full swing in Germany, and the Nazis are having to restrict certain areas of civilian life, but they're winning the war and pushing the Russians back hundreds and hundreds of miles and capturing hundreds of thousands of Russian prisoners very, very easily. Although you do start to get the pinch, lots of the doctors have gone off to fight with the army, and where it was 1 doctor for every 30 people before the war, 1 doctor for every 10,000 people by the time you get to 1941. Beginning of 42, this is where a group of high-ranking Nazis in a conference chaired by Reinhard Heydrich, these 2 ends actually. The Wannsee is the W-A-N-N-S-E-E, the Wannsee Conference, where lots of high-ranking Nazis get together and they decide we need a final solution to the Jewish question and the Jewish problem. And they have been murdering Jews and executing Jews with methods like the Einsatzgruppen and mobile gas trucks in 1941, and as they invaded Poland and Russia and came across millions more Jews, they decided, what on earth can we do with these people? We just need to get rid of them. That was part of Hitler's ideology. You need to understand why they moved to a situation of the final solution, and it's a pretty gruesome question to get. You could get it in an exam, how they carried out that final solution. That's hit upon in January 1942. They were not actually exterminating Jews systematically before that time, on a massive scale anyway. Also in 42, be aware that you've got the biggest battle of the war, the biggest battle the world's ever seen. That's the key turning point. Stalingrad starts in August 42, it's going to finish in February 43, and that's going to have a massive impact on what's going on in Germany because they start to lose from that point onwards. And from 43 and 44, from 43 onwards, you've really got in Germany an example really of total war, which feels like we're going through at the moment with Boris's daily updates on the coronavirus. You've got professional sport banned, God forbid. You've got civilian clothes being no longer produced, and you can only get a new pair of shoes by going to, well, an old pair of shoes by going to an exchange centre. So massive restrictions on life. All entertainment venues closed down except for the cinemas, so the Nazis could still show you their propaganda films, such as Kolberg, to inspire the Germans to great heights in the fight against the enemy. By this stage, the bombing is almost around the clock. You've got the Americans bombing by day, you've got the Brits bombing by night, and it's starting to have much more of an impact on German cities. There was a 1,000 bomber raid in 1942 against Cologne. Anything else for 43? No, let's whiz through quickly. So by 1944, you can see opposition, swing youth, Edelweiss pirates who murdered the Cologne Gestapo, head of the Cologne Gestapo. In July, the most famous example of a plot to kill Hitler, the one that got closer than any other, was the July bomb plot on Stauffenberg and the bomb in the briefcase at the attempts to kill him in Rastenburg in the East German forests, but goes badly wrong and leads to massive reprisals where about 5,000 people are executed by the Nazis. But it shows that the Nazi grip on things is just failing ever so slightly. Where else have we got to? 44, you can see that the bombing is stepping up, and the best example of that is 45. If you look at February, and the city that is firebombed into destruction is Dresden. You'll see lots of different figures. The one I tend to give is about 135,000 people killed in that horrific event, which is more than either of the atomic bombs killed on their initial impact. As the war draws to a close in 45 and the Russians are closing in on Berlin, in May, it's complete carnage in Berlin. The rationing system has broken down, the black market holds sway in Germany. The eventual surrender is May the 8th. We were going to have some big VE Day celebrations for the 75th anniversary of that in this country. Can't see those happening now. Hitler commits suicide on April the 30th. The Germans surrendered, the war in Europe is over, and it's absolute carnage in Berlin. You might remember the picture in your book of two blokes on the streets of Berlin scavenging meat off a dead horse. Hasn't got that bad yet in Cobham. Fingers crossed it won't get that bad. That is a good place to stop. The first chunk, we'll pick up again and do a couple more that will do us containment from sort of from 45 through to the end of Vietnam. We won't do the origins of the Cold War in this one because you guys should have already done paper 2 stuff in class.